Hello YouTube, Robin Hood Bricks here, and today I think I'm going to make a start on a new building, and I fancy doing a really tall one to go next to my space tower over there. Now, my space tower is very good for a number of reasons. And the first one is density, because it packs a heck of a lot into a very small footprint. And achieving a high density in my city is one of my major design rules. So if you think about all the wonderful scenes and so on that we've got in here, it really is very efficient indeed. I'm sure I could do a very ornate, huge skyscraper, but I'm more interested in doing it in the city style and having loads of interesting insides as well as a functional building. And indeed, when you step back, having a nice tall facade building like this is just very colourful, and it also covers up a heck of a lot of otherwise boring wall space. So I want this to have a partner that has just as many wonderful scenes inside it. And that's the other really good thing about this space tower is we've got a Death Star type dish on the top, modern kind of space, alien conquest, classic space, and so on and so on. And it's a really good excuse to use loads of builds that otherwise you wouldn't be able to incorporate into a Lego city. So that's what I intend to do with my next tower as well. Use loads of ideas that I'm going to find it hard to get in otherwise. And the theme that I've decided to do this tower, the new one, on is racing. Because I haven't got room to do a racetrack in my city. It's far too dense for something like that, and a decent racetrack would take up a heck of a lot of space. So I'm going to do a racing tower instead. So I want it to be about the same height, about the same footprint, with loads of scenes, one on every floor, just like in the space tower. And I'm going to use Ferrari as the basis behind it, the idea. And that's mainly because Lego have done absolutely loads of Ferrari sets. So it should be really easy for me to accumulate loads of Ferrari specialist pieces to make those scenes really accurate. Now, obviously, it won't be a racing track scene that we're doing. I figure that the tower will be the headquarters of a racing team, and why Ferrari have decided to leave Italy and have their headquarter building in Brick Nottingham, I've got no idea. Maybe it's access to all of our talented scientists. But whatever the reason, I figure a Ferrari headquarters office would be a really good addition to the city. Right, so down to the building desk. And as I hinted at before, I've been accumulating quite a few Ferrari specific pieces out of all sorts of different sets. These are two rather large panels out of the set 75913, F14T and Scuderia Ferrari truck from 2015. And I hope to incorporate these and many others into my build. So it's a nice big red, bright and colourful building, because it has to be red really if it's Ferrari, and with loads of scenes, as I said before. So I'm going to be using this 16 by 16 base plate, and that might just be temporary for when I actually put it in the city. I don't know exactly where I'm going to be doing it. I think I'm going to be shuffling buildings around quite a bit when I've got a few more, but for now I just want to put it on the smallest base possible for its footprint, and I think that's going to be 16 wide, so that's what we're going for. So I'll move Robin out of the way, and probably those as well, and we can make a start. Now, the basis for this build, I'm going to be using these 2x4x6 door frames, part number 60599, and that's really just because they're a lot cheaper. Generally, if you try and buy a door frame from Bricks and Pieces or something like that, then it can cost you, well, anything up to about 30p or something like that, whereas you can get these for about 4p. So I thought that was a good saving. And also it can make the building look a bit more three-dimensional. So I'm going to use one on the sides and have this quite a shallow depth building, and then three of the same sort of things along the front. So I can have one here and one here and then the doorway on the ground floor into kind of the reception area on the middle there. So that's fine. So I'm going to need 2 smaller columns, and for some reason I seem to have absolutely loads of 1x1x5 and 1x2x5 bricks in red. And also, because I was buying for my extended train shed, I've got lots of these red 1x16 bricks as well, which, to be honest, I don't really need anymore, so I'm going to use them here. So 1 to pin the front together, 1 to kind of pin the back together, and then a couple of 6s just to fill that in. And then just to continue this sort of white strip up, there'll be kind of 5 white strips. I'm going to add a 1x4 brick with some of these sort of slide modified plates just to continue the white stripe up. So what we're going to have is a very red building, but with these white stripes going all the way up it. And I'm going to use this footprint on absolutely all of the floors. So it's incredibly tall. I'm thinking, I don't know, at least 6 floors anyway. Don't know exactly how tall it's going to be. I'll keep going until I either run out of bricks or scenes to do. So I'm just going to remove that temporarily, because I think the downstairs has to be a reception for people coming in, visitors and so on. So I'm going to add kind of a reception desk. Should we go there? And a red telephone. I've tried to use red accents wherever possible, and a regular computer. So we'll put that there. And then we're going to need some seats for visitors to be waiting. So I'm going to have one right up against there, another one nearby. And most of the minifigure inhabitants of this building are going to be wearing proper Ferrari kind of racing suits, I suppose, but they could be track suits or even corporate wear or something like that. But they're really good because they've got the logo on the back as well. And they're from Speed Champion sets. But I got an absolute load of these on a haul, so I'm going to have most of my staff dressed in them. So maybe that's a theme going on throughout the building. So just to make the most of this guy's prints, the guy working reception, I'm going to have him standing up, maybe greeting any arrivals. We need a plant, so why not have a bamboo or maybe it's a yucca plant or something like that in the corner. Yeah, and I think that's probably about all we need for the ground floor. Could always add a visitor later. So I'll put that back on because that will be structural, holding everything up. But I do think we could do with a bit of detail out of the front. And what I thought would give it a bit more of a racing theme was kind of a black and white checkered driveway or walkway. Because in due course I will be tiling this in with normal light bluish grey tiles. I won't do that yet just because I don't know exactly where it's going to be, and I'll probably have to redo it all, of course. But I figured that the bit right in front of the door, being a checkered flag, looks quite fun. So I think I'll do that. And what better for door handle than a steering wheel? Thought that would be quite fun as well to give it kind of a racing theme. There we go. So I reckon that is quite a basic but quite a fun ground floor. And it's already looking quite Ferrari. Cool. Right, let's get on with the next floor. Now, just thinking about this setup and how I'm going to continue it all the way up, it does beg the question how I'm going to incorporate either of these panels. So it might be on one floor we have to have more solid walls or something like that, but I figure that might look not as good. So we'll see anyway. We'll have to bear that in mind. I could always use them somewhere else, but they do seem to be perfect for this build. Anyway, so if we move on to the next floor, we can add the same columns. I'm going to try and do this one a little bit more quickly. Now you know how it goes. And we can pin them down with that. And that. One in the middle. One on the side. Because as I said earlier, I think these really simple buildings are better in a way because they fill a lot of space, but then they also add a lot of colour, and you can just see through them because of the large amount of glass for the scenes, because I think that's the most important thing. I don't want to do a great big ornate building with no scenes on the inside. That's what I really like to do, and it's a good way of using really fun pieces, as I said before, that you wouldn't get to use elsewhere in your city. So that's my primary focus. So the fact I've made a sort of three-sided box is just a blank canvas for what goes inside. And on this one, I figured I'd make it kind of a research and development type place as well. So I'm going to add a lot of tooling. So here is a vise mounted to a block. So that will, when you turn the handle, sort of open and close to hold a part in it that's being machined. And then something that will be machining the parts themselves is a great big lathe. Now this is actually the same as the one, bar the colours of the pieces, that I used in the train engine shed 10027, or my adaptation of it from 2003, just because it's just so perfect. If you've seen a lathe in real life, you'll know that's exactly how they look. So why mess with an absolutely perfect design when you can incorporate it here? So this is going to be very much a kind of workshop type floor where they're doing some of the real messy work, making the very precise parts that go into one of their racing cars. And then here is a drill with the wheel there just to lower the drill bit. So I'll have that maybe against that wall there. And in fact, I think I'll turn it around, because bearing in mind this is going to be up against the wall, we want as many details as possible viewable from that direction. So having the wheel that you use to lower and raise the drill bit itself on that side is actually a bit better, even though in my experience they've usually always been on the right hand side just because more people are right-handed. So here is another one of those racers, and I've given this guy a helmet because I figured they'll need protective headwear, and they came with helmets, and I figure, well, makes sense really, doesn't it? So I'm going to have him maybe operating that, and I might have him turning his head slightly towards the window. As I said, we want them to be able to be seen a bit closer maybe. No, that's probably too close. So how about that? So again, a bit of a feast of red, very red indeed, but that is how Ferrari do it. They do have absolutely every surface possible painted red. So look, we'll be able to see into that window from outside very easily, from the kind of angle we were looking at before, and see him hard at work at his drill. Yeah, so I like all of those. In fact, probably going to turn this one around as well, actually, now I think about it, and have it more visible from the window. Oh yes, that's a lot better, isn't it? Cool. So I can add the 1x16 to the back and add the next floor for the next layer. I'm definitely going to have to raise the camera though. Right, so next floor on, in the way of all the windows and so on anyway, so you can start to see what the pattern that is repeating is going to look like when it's really tall. I think it'll be really nice, mainly white actually rather than red, but I think that's good. And of course I won't forget to put on a 3D sign right on the very top when we get there. But on to what will be the third floor. I think we need to do now, after some building, some testing. So what I've got here is a wonderful engine block, kind of on a testing rig. And this is a direct lift from the set 75882 Ferrari FFXK and Development Centre from 2017. And I was fortunate enough just to be able to buy the relevant parts that I wanted from somebody who'd split the set and maybe just wanted the car. And I love it when people on eBay do that sort of thing. They sort of buy the car that they want and then sell all the bits that I want separately. So there is a big wobbly engine being tested. And the rest of that rig is this, which is kind of an extraction unit, because you wouldn't want to be doing testing on an engine in an enclosed space and breathing in all of the fumes. So if I kind of attach these pipes to the exhaust manifolds, then we've got a nice colourful test rig going on. So I figure they're going to be monitoring this testing quite thoroughly. So I've got this bank of computers on a nice sort of rounded desk. And these three stickers come from the set that I mentioned earlier, the 75913 Scuderia Ferrari truck one. And they're really nice and colourful again, with the boost fuel oil air mix. Some nice charts there, and a picture of a racing car. So I think they're very appropriate, and the yellow's tying in with the yellow as well. So that is a really good look. So I'll try and push that down there. Then we need another guy doing testing, and he's in protective kit as well. And that's just in case there's a malfunction with this engine, of course. So he'll be monitoring that. And what colour mug would he want for his tea? Well, it'd have to be Ferrari red, wouldn't it? So we'll put that on his desk, because that is a vital bit of equipment as well. So there we go. There's another nice, bright, colourful scene that we can see from the outside. Maybe I'll tilt his head just a little bit as well, so he's looking out the window to a degree, or at least visible to us. Yeah, starting to come together. I like those scenes. And you can see those computer screens through that window and so on. Yeah, so it's getting nice and interesting. I just love that checkered bit. Okay, so now for the 4th floor, and it's starting to look quite tall already. I decided to use one of the other elements from the set that the testing rig came from, and that's a 3D printing machine. And I really love this. It's so ornate. It seems to be printing a roller skate, but I think that's supposed to be a very precise model of a car, perhaps for some aerodynamic testing or something like that. Or maybe it's just gubbins that goes inside an engine that's incredibly vital, and none of us know exactly what it does. It does seem to have a picture of a piston on there, so maybe it's a part of that. But anyway, that's a really nice little build that's from that set 75882. So I thought I'd have to incorporate this as well. And I think it's a bit different because this is kind of big chunky pieces being cut out of lumps of metal, this one being testing, and there's some very precise fine parts. Now, I did want to also have a nice big Ferrari logo visible through one of these windows from the outside. And I could use one of these large panels, of course, but one of the stickers that also came in that set was just a big Ferrari logo, and I thought I could put it on the back of this. So there is a beautiful Ferrari logo, expertly applied sticker, and I thought if I put the 3D printer machine there, it would kind of do two things at once, because I want it kind of up against the wall because it's quite big, but having it with the logo on the back makes it kind of dual purpose, otherwise that window really would be blocked. So there is our logo, and we can still see the 3D printing through the side windows, obviously from both sides, because we'll be able to see right through here, hopefully from the entry into the Lego room, the Lego doorway, and we'll be able to see this from the second standing hole as well. So I'm hoping that will be nice and visible. Now we've got loads of space around the sides, so why not add absolutely loads of tools, tools in drawers, tools on top, an oil can on there. So we can put that whole setup, say, on that side. Oh, don't want to knock it off. Oh, I have. There we go, it's back. And then the same sort of thing on the other side, except I've got a great big drill there, hand drill, and I'll push that down on that side. And then you guessed it, for the occupant of this floor, it's another Ferrari employee in his kind of work overalls. So he can be operating the 3D printing machine. And he's also got his wonderfully comfy helmet on. So there we go. So 4 floors full of activity, full of colour, full of red bricks. I can put the roof onto this one as well. But probably as far as I've got time to go today. So I think what we'll do is revisit this next week and add probably about the same again, to make this a really tall tower, so it's, well, potentially even taller than the space tower that it will go next to. Cool. So, do tell me what you think. So I've got lots of ideas for additional floors, and I've got loads of windows and loads of 1x16 bricks to keep going. So the sky really is the limit with this one. But do tell me if you've got any cunning ideas or interesting plans for wonderful scenes that I could incorporate in this, with loads of Ferrari themed minifigures and so on. It'll be greatly appreciated. And do let me know if there's little improvements I can do to the ones I've already done. So, thanks very much for watching. As always, it is appreciated. Do remember to like, comment and subscribe for more awesome Lego videos. And if you value this channel, there are many ways in which you can support it. Do check out the links in the description below. Also, my GBC factory is still on Lego Ideas, and is about 1,500 votes, around thereabouts. So do add your support to that if you haven't already. Thanks very much. And next time on Robin Hood Bricks, well, it will be a brick haul on Wednesday, and then back to the fairground, of course, for another Fairground Fridays at the end of the week. So, see you then!